How can we make the world better? By making ourselves better. The Dr. Joe Show explores how you can make positive personal change by using his groundbreaking and highly effective I Am approach to understand who we are and why we do what we do. Your small changes can have big effects.
Join us now for the Dr. Joe Show with Mark Stiles of Stiles Law and your host, Dr. Joe Schrand.
And we're here. We're live. We're WATD 95.9, and we are the Dr. Joe Show. Here live virtually, not in studio, in Broadcast House, but right here live with you all. What's up, Dr. Joe?
What's up, Mark Stiles? Yes, here we are. Thank goodness for Zoom, right? I mean, this is how we can be
COVID positive.
Remote. And isn't it funny the way those words have switched meaning? So positive is now negative and negative is positive. So if you're positive, that's not a good thing. But if you're negative, that is. It's like.
But this is a COVID positive. Because of COVID, Zoom created this efficiency land for all of us to do things that we might not have been able to do and connect with those that we may not have connected with.
I think that's so true. And, you know, in terms of mental health, I mean, I've been an advocate for telepsychiatry long before COVID, because it breaks that barrier. It removes that barrier to care, just a geographic one. So theoretically, if the federal government decides to change some of the licensing rules for physicians and practitioners, we'll be able to see anywhere at any time in any state. And the reason that's really important is September's coming.
Yep.
College is starting. Some of those kids are already connected with therapists and prescribers in one state, and now they're in another state. It is.
How about civil disobedience in that situation, right? Like, this rule doesn't make sense. There are rules and then there are real rules. This rule doesn't make sense. I'm going to continue to treat my patient.
Well,
what's the worst thing that could happen?
You lose your license and you won't.
Why, though? I would appeal that until I'm blue in the face.
Yeah.
This is my client. There are no borders to mental fitness.
Right. I think part of it, and this is cynical to be sure, is Massachusetts gets money for me to be licensed in Massachusetts. When I was licensed in Rhode Island.
How much? $108 every 2 years or something, the licensure?
It's even if it's like $800 for every couple of years. So I know it doesn't sound like much, but
we've had this conversation.
Then you have to deal with the insurance companies saying, well, wait a sec, this person's insurance is here, but they're in Florida, but they're insured in Massachusetts.
Yeah, fair.
So, but I am all for breaking down those barriers. And during COVID, there actually was a dispensation where it stopped. We were allowed to see people through tele from one state to another without that. And then that has been taken.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Oh, there absolutely is.
So is that what you're saying?
It has to do with anger. You know, if people get angry enough. Anger is an emotion designed to change things. It has to do with conflict, being able to.
I think it has more to do with reason. And I know where you're segueing, and I'm not ready to segue quite yet. I think it has more to do with.
What's your reason for that?
Reason.
Yes.
And common sense.
Yeah.
And as I was trained in the law and practiced for 30 years, 3-0, that's right, Doogie Howser, JD. It's all about common sense. Like, this doesn't make sense. Somebody needs to stand up and say, this doesn't make sense. Tear down that wall. Why are we creating borders? There's a national insurance policy available, I'm sure. Yeah. There's really, does mental fit, let me ask you this. Does a mental wellness, fitness, illness diagnosis differ in Boulder, Colorado versus Boston, Massachusetts?
Well, I think that's a very good point. Of course not. I mean, mental health is mental health. But
it's a silly rule then.
But the problem is, and again, cynical, it's more than common sense. It's actual sense, CENTS. People are worried that they will lose money, thank you, if they allow this. But
no, I was booing the reality of that.
I think that for those kids, especially those kids who are going off to college and who need that support, we can do remarkable things to help.
Well, think about it. That's an easy way to start the ball rolling down the hill effectively, is to say, well, these kids, they're still taxpayers of Massachusetts or wherever their hometown is, right? They're still domiciled at home. Therefore, this video screen, they're actually at home.
I no argument, but let me give you an example. I had a patient who went to University in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay? The only way that I could see them to continue their treatment, their medication, and their therapy was they had to drive across the border to Massachusetts.
But do you see how silly that is?
Of course it's silly. There's no question.
So anything, whenever there's silliness that doesn't make sense, it needs to be changed, right?
Yes, there was
history.
There was a purposeful pause, so people could let that sink in. That was not your audio did not just mute. Yes, absolutely.
It can't be about the money. It's not. I mean, there's some. I'll always follow the money, right? But it's not about the licensing fee. Definitely not that.
Again, not to disparage, the supports we have through our insurance companies, but there's something called a prior authorization. You familiar with this? So if I put a patient on a medicine,
yeah,
I may need to get that approved by the insurance company because they want to know, well, why are you picking that medicine?
Yeah.
And so I then have to fill out a form. And then I have to fill out a second form.
Well, I think this is good, by the way.
Send off a PDF file saying basically a narrative of why the person needs to be on it. Now, I can't bill for that time. Who do you bill? Right? So here
they can make that more efficient, because basically what they're saying is there's no conflict of interest here, right? You're not being paid by Pfizer to prescribe Pfizer. Can you check this box and just let's keep going?
Oh, no, it's not Pfizer. It's the insurance company. The insurance company.
No, I understand.
That's not on my formulary. And if I approve that,
they're saying, why are you?
I have to pay more. The insurance company then has to pay more to Pfizer to get that medicine.
Right.
It is quite the conundrum.
Wait and see. Protecting the consumer is always where we want to be focusing all of our attention. Yes. Wait and see the efficiencies coming for that, though. The AI and the technology and tools that are coming, that I can't bill for this. That goes away with efficiencies and the technology of things. Wait and see. I know it's here he is. Here he goes again with his AI.
Well, I think AI has great value, but we need to be sure. I mean, we've heard the stories before about, the person who wanted to jump off a building and AI said, well, there's a higher building that you could use. That's not.
So that was a lot of versions ago. And I've had this conversation a lot, obviously, because this is the big obstacle. It's the same conversation I have where the foolish attorney hands in the final memo to the judge without proofreading it, right? Like, you don't do that if an intern gives you the product. You're still going to review it and double check it. That conversation that person had with the one-sided chat GPT is the word sycophant. Is that the proper? Sycophant is the chat model wants to please you. Yes. It wants to give you the answer. So apparently going down that rabbit hole, and this technology is not complete yet. We all agree to that. This was a few models ago. Going down that rabbit hole, I want to kill myself. Well, kill yourself. The machine doesn't have the ability, right? So it's not being used effectively in that scenario, yes. And the technology's, it's fascinating, Dr. Joe. Have you heard the AI-induced psychosis yet?
AIP? No, I haven't. Tell me about that.
AI-induced psychosis. I was listening to a podcast last week, and they were talking about it, and it's going down these rabbit holes so deeply that you almost lose. I think the video games can have this effect on the brain also. Going down that rabbit hole so deeply, you really kind of lose your sense of reality, right? Between the machine and reality. And you all of a sudden, so they're starting to see diagnoses of this.
Interesting.
We got to get a guest on for that.
Well, but we will. But it is all about reality and reality checking. And, you know, the reality that you and I have on a regular basis here on the Dr. Joe Show is that we take these breaks for our very real sponsors, nothing artificial about them. So with that reality check and moving away from psychosis, let's take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back with the Dr. Joe Show. And wait till you hear who our guest is.
Can't wait.
Hey, folks, thank you for listening to the Dr. Joe Show. We've been investigating whether or not we want to bring sponsors into our podcast. What are your thoughts? Do you know somebody who might be a good partner with the Dr. Joe Show, who may want to align their product or service with the Dr. Joe Show? Think about it.
That is an amazing, amazing jingle. Thank you, Michaela, for creating that for Styles Law. That was fun. Thanks for bringing us back, Larry. We are here live, WATD 95.9, with the Dr. Joe Show. We are not in studio. We are on Memorex. And we have an amazing guest tonight, don't we, Dr. Joe? A returner.
We do indeed. And I wonder, could you introduce our guest? Because she will tell us about how she and I met and connected. But we're really delighted to have her back and talk about her new book that's coming out. Mark, you got her bio there?
I do. We are super blessed here on the Dr. Joe Show to have this returning guest who's celebrating 10 years in business. She's an executive coach who works with senior leadership across the U.S. and Canada. She's also a business consultant who helps companies grow without losing their soul or purpose. That's right. Let me say that again. She's also a business consultant who helps companies grow without losing their soul or purpose. Mm-hmm. This year, she's stepping into new territory as a first-time author, teaming up with, drumroll please, Dr. Joe. The book is called Don't Lose Your Beep at Work. It explores the science and the humanness of the different ways anger shows up in the workplace, and how to manage that hidden fuse behind the calm facade. With over 2 decades of experience in leadership, communication, culture, and sales, this person has seen just about every kind of workplace challenge and knows how to turn them into lasting success by helping companies achieve results and teams discover their energy. Please meet and write down this name because it is her website, Karen Thrall. Welcome to the show, Karen. Welcome back.
So happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome back, Karen.
Yes. Such a warm welcoming. I love it.
No, it's terrific. I mean, you've done so much for so people. So it's both the book is Don't Lose Your Fecal Content at Work, but it's been abbreviated into a vernacular. So Don't Lose Your at Work. How... First of all, welcome back, Karen. It's so good to see you.
You guys you have so much good energy. I just love sitting here and listening to you both go back and forth.
Yeah.
That's very kind.
Thanks, very kind. Minimal conflict between Mark and I. And I think part of it, but really, I think it's important to point that out because we have different perspectives about a lot of different things.
Most things
doesn't mean most things.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not even going to argue with that. I want that's how aligned our different perspectives are. But we've been resolved based on respecting each other's position and not letting it activate our limbic system. So that I think has part of the title of your book, Don't Lose Your at Work. First of all, let's talk about the title and how that represents what your message is for our folks.
Yeah. Well, the cover is a bull with flowers around its neck, and that symbolizes the bull market business, symbolizes the bull in the china shop, and it symbolizes the bull beep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
That goes through. And so all of that is just kind of like symbolic of the type of reader that will be reading this.
Is that symbolic or symbolic?
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Symbolic.
Stop.
Go ahead. Stop. Started.
I know.
He can't help it. And let me just say, he will be joining the national pun competition.
Well,
why?
I haven't decided, but I'm being certainly
Come on, listener. If you're listening, it's live.
I
Text
think
in
you
and
should.
say,
You
go
can't
for it,
help
Dr.
it.
Joe. Go
Yeah.
for it. You'll win.
They just ooze out of you.
They
You
do.
can't.
Can you
No
imagine
filter.
can you imagine being the national champion? I mean, it's pretty cool.
Okay. I'm sorry we diverted from this. Let's come back to but it's nice to be heard of. Sorry, that goes back to our bull.
Herd. H-E-R-D.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
See,
Go ahead.
look at him.
So how'd you come up with the title? Because you've been working in this business for a long time.
Yes. Okay. The title was originally Deal With It Now or Deal With It Later.
Right.
And that is based on a workshop that I started in 2004. And that workshop was my own quest because I was trying to figure out this tricky emotion. I didn't realize to what extent. And as the more research I did, the more workshops I ran, and next thing you know, you got hundreds or you're into the thousands of people and you're looking at your data and you're seeing, all these consistencies. And I went, oh, this is uncanny that there is a way people deal with conflict, and they're either going to choose to deal with it now or later. And the laters think their way is the best way because with later comes composure. And the nows think they're doing it the best way because with nows comes transparency, forthright, like short accounts. And so they're already starting in a deficit when they're in conflict because they already think the other person doesn't handle conflict properly. So it's now how they're handling conflict becomes more the issue than the actual topic itself. So how you react about a topic becomes more important than whatever made you upset in the first place. So so from there, then there was a publisher. She actually does medical journals, and she said, oh, you should call it. And then she just got me thinking, and I went, boy, oh boy, have I heard that term so many times when I'm coaching. That's the term. Don't lose your, blue at work. Or they all say, oh, I lost it, or it's that. And so I went, no, that's more telling. That title alone, everyone will know what the book's about, just the title alone. And so, yeah, that's how it evolved.
Yeah. Yeah, moving away from the deal with it now or deal with it later, which still is accurate.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a more compelling title. I'll just say this: don't lose your shit at work. Barry can beep it out because we got that few second delay, but it's almost ready to go now, right? I mean,
It is.
So let's hear about this exciting moment here.
Yeah. Well, the science is Dr. Joe. So do you want me to share how we met? Okay.
Absolutely. I think people.
So I will. So on this quest of understanding anger, it's very personal, like most books, right? You write. So in the book, I tell my flaws. I don't paint pretty pictures of myself, but I do show the journey of my journey. So, and I thought, well, if I struggle with these specific things, maybe there's way more people out there who can feel the same way. So in that, I was at the library and your book, Outsmarting Anger, was in the section. And I turned to the first page and your starting story about the gentleman who they couldn't control. And you asked him if you wanted coffee and if you want decaf. And about this outsmarting anger, and I was hooked. I went, he's my new friend. And I told him to tell people, that's my new friend. And one day we're going to be friends. I don't know if I have to fly to Massachusetts and sit in one of his lectures, but I'm going to be friends with this guy. That was 10 years ago.
Is it 10 years?
Yeah.
Ago?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think yeah. So I read then about 10, maybe 9, but yeah.
Wow.
You manifested it.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And then when I realized it was time for me to write the book, it was during COVID. It was 2021. And I was totally plagiarizing Dr. Jill's book. I just kept taking things from it. And I went, but I didn't know. I actually didn't know I was plagiarizing, but I kept pulling he says this and he says that. And really, I was pretty much typing in exactly what he was saying. I went, there's a lot of content here. So then I emailed you on your website and asked you if I could have permission to use your material. And we went on a Zoom call. And then on the Zoom call, you let kindly, so sweet, so kind, let me know that I was plagiarizing. So
It wasn't that kind.
But anyways, so then I thought, I was very impulsive because I didn't really think you'd say yes, but I was very impulsive and said, would you want to co-author? Like, is this something we could co-author? Because there was so much of his content. It truly, I'm telling you, that book was transformational for me. It made so much sense. I learned tons, so much so that I turned workshops into them because I had to share this. I was like, people need to hear this. This was never taught to me. This is so simple. To think that my brain can change how I relate to my emotions, my brain, like, and it's true. I am a reflection of that. Like, I know firsthand that it's changed. I have so many stories of how I approach things as 9 day. I wish I could go back now and do all those emotional outbursts. I wish I could. I wish I had the tools I have today. So anyway, so then we started writing together.
Yeah, we did.
And here we are doing a little talkie show.
So Dr. Joe is extremely humble when it comes to his works and is going to have a hard time asking the question. So I'm going to kind of jump in here a little bit. What was it that really profoundly moved you about Outsmarting Anger? And folks, this is absolutely a required reading for every listener who's on here, and you can hear why. I mean, you don't get book reviews like this on Amazon. Like, this is in person. This is the real thing. This is like the spiritual movement of things. So what was it, Karen?
It's timeless. First of all, it won't matter if I read it today, 20 years, 50 years. He writes to me like there's all this science, all this information, and the way you wrote was so warm and so easy to understand. And but it was the first time I'd heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know science. I don't know that. I'm a business person. Why would I know things about my brain?
Right.
Except for like making decisions. So, and everything that mattered to me in the book is in our book because it had that much of an impact. I have to share it. The resonance, Dr. Joe talks about our feelings of threat. And in our feelings of threat, there's our resonance, our relationship, and our resources. And we feel threatened in those things. So when I get upset or I get triggered or something upsets me, it's most likely something in those three categories. He talks about how suspicion comes from the limbic. I learned how the limbic is this little tiny piece of it, little tiny part of your brain, like the size of a dime. And it holds massive power because that's where rage lives. That's where you want to fight from, where you freeze from, where you run away from, where you go blank, where you are jealous, where you don't trust somebody and you feel suspicious of their intentions, where you compete, all that little tiny part of your brain. And when you read in this book and he teaches you how to move it to the prefrontal cortex, the 10% of your brain that is the newest form of our brain, that's newly evolved. And you start thinking there, all you have to do is shift from a limbic to prefrontal cortex and you're in, because that's where like you were saying earlier, the reasoning is there. That's where and it's just, I'm like, I can do that.
So let me ask you this. Now that you're sharpening the saw and teaching it to others, how are people receiving it?
Oh my gosh. I can't even tell you. So I'll give you an example. President of a software company. I write about him in the book. Incredible person, family man, 4 kids, like incredible human man, full of characters, brilliant businessman, successful, calm, soft-spoken, burning up on the inside, boiling over, but he had nowhere to go with it. And so his wife started noticing something's off in him. He just seemed a little bit more edgy sometimes, a little bit more irritated, but quiet. And so he met with me and I went, oh, he's angry. But that word is a forbidden word because our association with anger is rage, it's violence, it's aggression, it's mean, it's abusive. I don't want to be associated with that.
Lack of control, right? Like
lack of control. And here's this amazing human having this slow burning fuse that he doesn't know what to do with because it surely isn't anger. And as we spent time together, I use the analogy from Dr. Joe's book about parenting is teaching your baby, and I'm paraphrasing here, how to go from a limbic cry to finding your words. That's why is baby crying? Diaper's dirty, tired, hungry, hurt, needs love. That's why your baby's crying. And the parent's job is to figure that out. That's prefrontal cortex. And then you teach your child how to say food, how to say, I need a hug. That's prefrontal cortex. So we do this naturally. Well, that has to happen in business. Because in business, you're always in your A game. And this gentleman in particular, he wasn't going to show this thing inside him. He was really upset with his company. He was upset with his team. And he didn't know how to address it because he was always the calm one. He was always the cool one, but it was getting to him. 10 years in, he's going, okay, now it's getting on my nerves. He started losing respect. He started losing trust. He started getting annoyed. He couldn't understand why performance was down, why people were being so entitled. I mean, all these things were burning up in him, and he had nowhere to go. And he couldn't go to his team because he was afraid he'd say the wrong thing. He didn't want to go to his wife because his wife always said he's going to quit. He didn't want to go to his network because his network, that's where you're schmoozing. Like, he's not going to show them his flaws. And so coming to me was safe. All of a sudden, he had space to talk out loud, to think out loud. And Dr. Joe brings that up in his book with a woman named Joanna that he calls Joanna in the book. When you talk out loud, this angst, you're going to figure it out and you're going to make great decisions. And so creating that space, and it's the space I wanted for myself. So I give it to professionals.
And it is a safe space to express anger. And one of the things that I want to be sure is that our sponsors feel safe, and hopefully they're not expressing anger at me for going over a couple of minutes. But let's take a break. We'll hear from our wonderful sponsors. We'll be right back with Karen Thrall, Mark Stiles, The Dr. Joe Show.
Hey, folks, welcome back. So any thoughts? Do you listen to other podcasts? Do you see how they do the sponsors? Is there a way that they're utilizing sponsors that you enjoy or you don't enjoy? I listen to SmartList, and I really enjoy how the co-hosts share the voiceover for the product or service. It's really funny for the most part, but it's unique. It's them really endorsing. Does that work? What do you think?
Oh, I can hear you. Oh, we are back. Hello, everybody. Mark, you want to bring us back in?
Here we are. You got a little behind the scenes of the Dr. Joe Show. Here we are at 95.9 WATD with co-author with our friend and yours, Dr. Joe. We have an author here talking about conflict resolution and outsmarting anger with their new book together, coming out very soon. Don't lose your beep at work. Author Karen Thrall, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. And I mean, we're talking about that executive and how anger it is part of our fight, flight, freeze response. It's the fight branch. But it's very important for people to recognize that aggression is the enactment of anger. There is nothing wrong with anger. It's what you do with it. It's what you do with it. Some of the most important changes in our world have been because of anger, because anger is an emotion designed to change things. We get angry when we want somebody to do something different, start doing something, stop doing something. So there are these folks, the nows and the laters, they may have a conflict. They have different approaches to it, but there's an opportunity there for them to share their perspectives and come together and do something even more powerful than doing it on their own. But the idea of outsmarting anger, and I appreciate you coming back to that book, was the one very simple observation. When is the last time you got angry at someone treating you with respect? And that, I think, is the cognitive shift, because that respect means that I am looking again at why someone's doing what they're doing. Respect, again, look. So I am so honored that I've helped inspire this. But let's get to don't lose your at work, and Larry can
How
beep
come you
it
keep
out.
doing that? There's an FCC, there's still
I know.
federal regulators.
I know.
Why are
You
you
think
risking it?
you think they'll get angry with me?
I know they will.
I don't
I'm
know.
the one that's going to get the email.
All right, fine. Beep. Don't lose your beep at work. But conflict resolution is a major part of this. Once you recognize that there's a conflict, once you recognize that anger, and I know that we're talking a lot of these days about artificial intelligence and AI. AI is unlikely to ever get angry. Agreed? I mean, I don't know whether
Unless you teach it to and tell it to.
that's exactly it. So it is that learning process, just like we have with any child. We're trying to teach our child an approach. How I know that Mark is developing a business around AI and conflict resolution. I'm wondering whether the two of you want to spend a few minutes just sort of reviewing
Geek out on it a little bit.
Yeah, that would be great.
So Joze.ai, Joze.ai, Joze being Hebrew for contract. Myself and a founder had iterated and finally landed on an AI tool to assist with conflict resolution. So think third party, neutral mediator.
Yeah.
For fear, I didn't say it, you said it, right? For licensing and certification purposes, we're not emulating humans. We're creating a tool to elevate what they're doing and to give folks the opportunity to resolve conflicts before it becomes expensive, energy draining, all of the things. And, we've got some North Star visions of what this product can do. And we're in early stages, and we have an experiment coming up in under a month where we're going to bring in strategic folks from the industry to test it, to break it, to teach it, machine learn it. And then second phase of the experiment is to bring it to consumers for free to test it with their dispute and see what they think of it. So the only fee is feedback. We're going to want all the feedback and treating it like a crowd building. We can do this together, right? We can resolve conflict together. So help us come along and join the journey with Joze to resolve conflict at scale. What do you think?
It's amazing.
You
Good.
think we can do it?
Really, yeah. Yeah, conflict resolution it's taught. It's not something that comes natural for us. It's something we get trained in, and it happens when you're little or not. That's why you see little kids, they'll shrink back, or you'll see little kids will be obstinate. It is something that has to be trained, and we stop training. We stop educating people on how to communicate in conflict, where we actually flip it to a child is seen, not heard. Raise your hand, go stand in the corner. We all do it. It's an positive intention. There's an appropriate behavior we want children to have. So it's never to shut a child down, but that message of silent or, just keep the peace. And then you become an adolescent and then college. And, so you never truly get mature and trained. So that bring in a resource like this, where you can retrain people, because anybody can resolve conflict.
And I think that the critical mass that will happen with it is that as people use it, they actually learn to not need to use it as much, right? Because how often do two people or more find themselves in conflict and realize they actually are in agreement, yet they're not listening to one another and they're just saying it differently.
Totally.
And you get this opportunity to have this person. Well, it's not a person, strike that. And it can be a person, but people will hesitate and they'll let it go too long because, oh my God, how much is it going to cost? What's the retainer fee going to be? And what's the process? And this is front running that to assist in that final pursuit of solution. And man, wouldn't it be wonderful?
What what was the vision? What inspired you to start something like this?
Oh, that's such a deep question. So I posted a blog, if you will, on LinkedIn back in April, and I won't forget it because it was the first time I had a post create such engagement in such a rapid amount of time. And I was in Pittsburgh visiting my son at the dog park, and I couldn't keep up with the comments. And the top of the what do they say with the newspapers on the top side of the page? You know, I'm talking about Dr. Joe. The headlines. Basically, the headline was AI is going to replace associate attorneys. Hear me out. You know, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm seeing. Blah blah blah. So the top of the fold. So when you open it up and you actually read, and it hit the algorithm correctly, and it spun wild, and it was really eye opening for me, and it connected me with an individual, a universal tap on the shoulder, and we aligned and we started talking through things. And you know, it was initially as like, you know, the legal industry is really ripe for utilizing AI and enhancing what they're doing and bettering the industry through AI. And then we started iterating on various things. We started looking at what I'm doing with Styles Law, which is introducing consumers of legal services with the right attorney at the right time, saving them as much time, energy, and money as possible, and utilizing AI and tokenizing and delivering to that professional exactly what they want, right? So creating a thing. And then I started to think more about that. That wasn't very fulfilling. It became like that will be a lead generation company. And, you know, I left practicing law because I didn't love that. I'm not going to want to do a lead generation company. And we kept iterating. We started around like family dynamics and, you know, family project plans and creating, and we just kept beating at it and beating at it. And ultimately, because of the family plan, we started thinking about a product within the family plan that revolved around conflict. It was the gray divorce, right? So 45 to 75-year-olds who choose to get divorced is typically a low level conflict. It's usually more of a business termination. Like, we love each other. We did great together. We got this second life. Let's just divide the assets up accordingly. And it's a business, no emotion to it. So it's for mediators, it's a relatively easy case, if you will. So we started focusing on that as the product market fit. And then it kind of spilled out into, well, like, maybe that's not the product market fit, but it's somewhere in the realm of conflict resolution. And of course, me with the grandiose idea, it's all of it. Like, it's all of conflict. And I envision a time where it's, you know, I've got a message here from Dr. Joe, care of Joze. Dr. Joe has a dispute that he wants to resolve with me. So, oh, really? I didn't know we had a dispute. Let's see. Oh, I didn't know he felt like that. Let me see my side of it. Blah, blah, blah. And delivers out the.
You got that message? I thought I deleted that text.
Yeah.
Oh no!
You left it in draft.
I must have left it in draft.
It's really exciting, Karen, and
yeah.
I think the possibilities are endless. And we're really excited about the upcoming experiment. We've got a bunch of folks, subject matter experts, who are agreeing to observe and help participate and advise us. And then the next step is to go out and find consumers who are willing to test it and say, I've got a dispute. You know, it's very similar to the Judge Judy, Judge Wapner, right? You're already in dispute. You know, if you both agree, we'll fly you out to LA and put you up all accommodations and you can embarrass yourself on TV. This is simply, you know, if you both agree, what's the worst thing that could happen? You'll probably get closer to your solution. I betcha you'll get closer.
And I think that dispute resolution is important. There's one thing that we have no dispute over is that we have to take a commercial break for our sponsors. So we won't dispute that. We'll take that break and then we'll come back and we'll continue this conversation with no conflict. Larry, let's take a break and listen to our sponsors.
Hey, welcome back. And again, we're super grateful for you listening to the Dr. Joe Show. If you have anyone that you think might be a good sponsor, shoot us an email at drjoepodcast@gmail.com. DRJOE podcast@gmail.com. Give us your thoughts about the show too. We're wondering, are we talking to the trees or are people really gaining value in this, please let us know. Thank you again and enjoy the rest of the show.
And we're back with the Dr. Joe Show here live, 95.9 WATD, your South Shore everything. We're not at Broadcast House with our friend Larry the Legend, but we are here live on Zoom with Dr. Joe and Karen Thrall talking about their new book, Don't Lose Your at Work. And it's out in stores very soon.
And off air, we would.
Can you pre-order?
Can you
Not
pre-order?
yet, but soon. Not yet, but soon. Yeah.
Cool.
So let's go back. So how are people going to be able to get it? And when do you think they'll be able to access it, Karen?
Yeah, it's in the formatting stage now. It's in the design, making sure that the print copy, it's also going over to Audible, right? That still is a one section. We need to get that done as well, which won't take too long.
Whose voice is doing that?
Well, we can't tell you yet. It's a surprise.
Oh, cool.
We're working on it, right, Dr. Joe?
Yes, we are.
An AI version of Dr. Joe?
But
I know you could do that now.
For me,
they say yes, it's a real treat if they say yes.
Aging individual is my AI. That's what I am. And
mine's all in.
I guess all in. I like that. All in. We could come up with a whole bunch of things. Yeah, we're definitely working on that, and Karen and I will be talking about.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's really around the corner. So
the listener will let you know the second it's out.
Yeah.
Links everywhere and social media.
Thank you.
What's your favorite part of the book?
For me?
Yeah, for you. What's your favorite part?
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm doing. This is fun. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm actually sending little snippets to people I've coached that are in the book, and they don't know. And but I buffer it quite a bit, so sometimes I take like 2 or 3 very similar stories, case studies of people I've worked with, and I make that one story just to protect, right? Like I don't want to. So, but the core goes back to an individual, and then I kind of just pull just to fill it up a bit to honor them. And the response I am getting is just, I have one. There's one about a lawyer who he berates himself when he's really mad at himself. He puts a lot of expectation pressure. And so he was telling me in a coaching session that he was going to
Mark. You wrote about Mark? Go on. All right.
I was at the edge of my seat though. I'm like,
how did she know?
Go on.
We'll call this person Stark.
Yeah.
Fine. And his last name was Astic.
Yeah.
Anyways, and he was saying how he was going to this wedding, and this is in a coaching session. He's going to this wedding, and the wedding, he tried on a suit and it was too big, and so he purged himself. For 58 hours, he went without food and only water, and he worked out 6 hours a day and he was angry. And that negative self-talk, right? So I sent him, because I worked with him for about a year. So I got to see, I don't go through the whole story, but I got to see the evolution, the transformation of him, But I go, do you want to see what I put in the book? And he laughed because I went on Zoom with him. He goes, he went that, yeah, I said that. And so I had another person, they just went, because they're seeing the journey from who they were to who they became.
Yes.
And so to go back 5 years, 10 years, I've been doing that, these little snippets to people, and those mean the world to me. Like when I'm reading it and going over it, I have such fond memories of the people. And so it's been really fun to reconnect with them and go, hey, you got a place in the book. They may not want to tell anybody it's them, but yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
You've helped so many people, I want to get to the 2 questions so that we can then continue our chat. So, as you know, the Dr. Joe Show is based on the I am approach, the idea that we're always doing the best we can. If we don't like it, we can change it. But we are responding to and influenced by 4 domains: home domain, social domain, which is everything other than your home, biological domain of your brain and body, and what I call the I see domain. How do I see myself? How do I think other people see me? Because these four domains interconnect, a small change in any domain can have a big effect. We don't need to change everything. So, Karen, based on what we're talking about tonight, what small change can you recommend to our listeners?
There's something you say, so I'm sorry, throw it back at you, but it is so helpful. And that is, we're all doing the best we can. And it gives you perspective and that small change. So if you think about at work, if you have a really irritating colleague and it just doesn't work, you're doing the best you can. They're doing the best they can. It's not an easy relationship, but you're both doing that. That calms it, it softens it, because I think we're quick to get suspicious. Mm-hmm. And you're doing that because you hate me. You're doing that because you're against me. You're doing that. What if that's the best? That's their 100% with you. The other thing too is sometimes you have a skill that somebody else doesn't have, and that irritates you. Like if you're a great listener, but you have a friend who never stops talking and never listens, you can get irritated. But that's because that's your skill. That's your bright light. They're doing that's their best. How they're listening to is their best. And so it kind of softens it a bit and just gives you a little bit more understanding perspective.
Yeah. I very much appreciate that, because it's true. That is respecting someone and not judging them, but wondering who they are and why they do what they do, and why is this their I am? Why is this their current maximum potential based on their life and what's been going on? And I appreciate that small change, being able to see people as doing the best they can. I hope it's a small change. I worry, honestly, that may be a lot to ask folks. But I think once they can do it once, it actually is the most remarkable transformation.
Yeah. I think, and I know I'll try to say this quickly, is that it doesn't negate your voice, though. You still can say what you need to say. You can still not be happy with your colleague. And it's okay to find the courage to talk about it. But when you find the courage, that relationship you're in, that's tricky. That's not good. It's unhealthy. You can find the courage to still speak up your voice. But from that perspective, they're doing the best they can. However, I still need to speak up. Those two can live in the same place at the same time.
Absolutely. And the word, irritating that you said, irritation is on that spectrum of anger, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is another description of anger. So when you're irritated, you ask yourself, what do I want to see different? What's going on that I want to see something different because I'm irritated? So I think that's a wonderful small change. I appreciate that. The second truth of the I am, everyone's got one. Everyone is interested through their I see domain, what you think about them, which has an effect on their biological domain, because it feels different when you feel respected or disrespected. And because you are part of someone's home or social domain, the second truth of the I am, you control no one, but you influence everyone. You get to choose the kind of influence you want to be. Karen Thrall, author, consultant, person who has influenced many, many people. What kind of influence do you want to be?
I'll always say this. When I'm 96, I want to be known as one of the kindest people on the planet, but it's going to take me to 96. So I figured that incremental change of influence and, no biases whatsoever, no matter where I am, that the kindness is the thing that comes to my mind first and foremost, regardless of the situation, environment, place, whatever. And I like it because I like me. When I choose kindness, I like me in it. And so that would be the area of influence that when I'm 96, I hope that's in my eulogy.
So why do you like yourself when you're kind to others?
I think it goes. It's seeing the light, the brightness in the other person's eyes, because people can tell when it's real, it's genuine, or when it's whatever, because you have to. But when you genuinely show kindness, someone they melt a bit, and I like that.
Yeah, it's true. It's part of the I am. Every time you remind someone of their value, you increase your own value. And I think kindness is letting somebody know that they're valued by you. Whether it's as simple as opening the door for someone at a coffee shop, that shows that you value that other person. And it is wonderful to get that feedback, Karen, thank you so much. Okay, so don't lose your beep at work. It's going to be coming out soon. And folks, when it does, you will be hearing about it here on the Dr. Joe Show. So Karen, thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you both
for coming on the air
Love
tonight
it.
with
Thank
us.
you.
Mark, always a pleasure. Larry, thanks. And all our listeners at WATD, thank you for your kindness. Thank you.